So welcome back. Now, yes, we can see the conversations online getting keener, intense, day in, day out. All because people are still, expressing their views and opinions on the nominations and categories, which is very normal of many awards around the world. And of course, we also find ourselves in that space with the 3Music Awards 24, connecting through music. But like I keep saying, well, your votes or your voice can be heard through the power of voting. So it's *447 *3 hash. Start voting now, and together with your friends, you can let your artist come out tops. If you don't do that, well, it will be a sad exit for your artist. But anyways, let me introduce my guests on the show today. We're going to be getting the conversation into a very heated conversation on three very interesting categories on the show today. I'll tell you shortly. But Kojo, Trip, and Kilson, welcome to the show. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Doing well.
Like we say, it's award season. There's excitement. There's conversations. Have you been caught up in the, the banter in the groups and in the communities and in the gatherings?
Definitely.
What is the general reaction like, with you when you heard of when the nominations were put out there, especially at the nominees party?
So for me, obviously, we get insight into certain things ahead of, and I was a bit confused about the category definitions. But as always, with the 3Music Awards category definitions, those are a bit more in-depth as compared to other award schemes. So it was very easy for me to catch up on what each category was.
Okay, did you have favorites that weren't in there, or did you have people that you wanted them yanked out as quickly as possible?
Of course, I did. I was a bit, I don't know if it's because I'm biased, but I was looking forward to seeing Small God get nominated, and because that's a very interesting,
his song with Black Holes, Fallen Angels, heavy sound.
Yeah, but last year he put out, I think, 3 singles, and Kweku Flake, Odumodu Black. There's also Automatic with Loj. And there was also Treasure Island as well with Joey B, Monique Lowe's, and Wester.
Well, maybe the research team that was started the whole initial population of the list, probably had gotten it in there. But when it gets to the board, I can tell you that it's a very heated argument, on who must be there and who shouldn't be there. But Trip, what about you as well? General opinion on the nominations and categories this year?
Well, I think that for the most part, several of the people who are nominated definitely deserve to be in there because they put in the work in the year under review. And there's other people who are in there, and I for one received calls. I received calls and texts about, why weren't these guys in there? Why weren't these guys in there? Because everyone was expecting them to get nominated. But I think that, taking that into consideration, hopefully in the next year under review, they'll put in enough work and then.
Well, enough work it is. So 3 categories I want us to take a deep dive into today on the show. We're looking at Digital Act of the Year, and I know the fandom is crazy when they hear Digital Act of the Year. We're looking at the Breakthrough Act of the Year, and one of my personal favorites as well is a Song of the Year. So we're going to kickstart with the Song of the Year category. Or in fact, no, hold up. Let's take our convo into Breakthrough Act of the Year. It was a very interesting 2023. Quite a number of artists made it, started showing, popping their heads on mainstream music platforms. But let's check out the nominees for Breakthrough Act of the Year.
Nominees for the 3Music Awards 2024 Breakthrough Act of the Year. The nominees are Banzi Banero, DSL, King Paluta, Kwesi Ameuga, Maya Blue, Mufti, Olive the Boy, Osei Krom Sikeni, 7 Keys, Slim Kid.
We can fly how we on a mission. Who's at my AI? Freaky out. Yeah, see me Muslim. It's spreading out. Wallahi, we hunting. I'm getting some calls from London. These flights, we catching.
Well, I can tell you just by watching the number of artists in the that this is not going to be an easy category to be in. I tell you, very tough one. But let me just get your personal opinions on this one first. What do you make of the list in there? Just your personal, your perception on the lists in there first.
Yeah, do you want
okay, all right. So let's start with you.
I think it's stacked. It's that.
Yeah, just talking about that. Yeah.
I'm impressed about that. But I feel like a couple people should go.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
The first shade has been thrown, but anyway, and you as well, Trip.
I'm not a man.
So let me read the category definition to everyone. So it says here, the most exciting and dominant breakthrough act or group of the year whose recording or recordings became extremely popular within the year under review. This is voted for by the board, academy, and the public. So all three, sectors to get a chance to vote. But let's run through the list real quickly. So there's Banzi Banero, there is DSL. Let's take them one by one, and then let's try and see, potential competition, brand value, anything we can add to that qualifies an artist to be in here. Yeah. Let's start with Banzi. How good a year has it been for Banzi?
I think, judging by the category definition, Banzi had quite an interesting, run last year. His song was mostly exciting. It went viral on TikTok. It went viral on Instagram. He himself, he was an interesting character. People associating his personality and his appearance to the song, because normally when songs like this come up, there is a certain idea of how the person should look like, but he was quite different, quite young, and also quite vibrant. So I think he had a good year.
Where there were conversations around Banzi Banero's brand, visibility and the music overshadowing him. Is that in any way true to a point?
Well, I think that has happened to a lot of artists. Like it happens to a lot of artists, where the song they go left, the artist, the song is everywhere, but people can't put a face, they can't put a face to the song. And for him, I think it has to do with the timing of his video when the video came out, because the video came out quite a while later after the song had blown out. Even I didn't know who he was until the video came out. But I think, like Ato said, he had an amazing year. His song appealed to religious folks. Yes. It appealed to people who like Asopo, because there was a bit of that in there, and then the whole like dance and all of that. So I think it's been amazing, the TikTok trends, all of that, and then he definitely deserves to be in that category.
Well,
I think Kojo Trip raised a very important point, but I don't normally think music videos, like the timeliness of a music video counts when it comes to people
interesting analysis here. Let's debate that out.
Okay. Because with Banzi Banero's situation, we can liken it to what happened to Eddie K. And what happened to Article 1 as well. Yeah. And we can also see with certain artists who have had music videos come on later on in their career, who have still been able to break out. If we take not jumping the gun.
But don't you think that affects him in any way as to people being able to identify the artist, and how that in itself can translate into votes? Because with the other 9 artists that have been mentioned here, their visibility is, at skyrocket level.
You see, we were having a conversation off camera about being in certain places at the right time. And also, like, those places contributing to people getting to know you. Yeah. There are certain stages, there are certain platforms that you'd have to put yourself on when you break out for visibility, so people can attach, or so that the song can be synonymous.
So was there a gap in there for there was a huge gap in there, I think so. And that in itself can also affect the vote. I don't know whether here lies a case where the song is very popular, the artist might not be that popular with his visibility, but would that affect his votes in any way? Or can it affect his votes in any way?
I mean, if the people love the song and they are voting for the song, it doesn't matter whether it has been nominated. So if I like the song and it's my favorite in that category, I'm definitely voting for it.
So looking at the category like breakthrough acts, where do you think the fans might lean more towards? Lean towards a song or lean more towards the artist?
I think if we are basing it on the act, people would want to know who they are voting for. And so I think if that's what most people are going to base their votes on, then Banzi Banero might find it a bit difficult.
A bit difficult there. Yeah. Okay, well, he might not be the only person. There's also DSL in there. And it's been a good run for DSL. I think he dropped an EP or an album.
Yeah, it was an EP.
It was an EP. Yeah. He's been on the rounds as well. Yeah. What about his brand visibility? What do you say to that?
So I think for me, I spoke to DSL after he released his EP, and
there's no biasness here, right?
No, there isn't. There isn't. There's no bias. I think that DSL has also had an amazing year. He was nominated. The previous awards and then all of that. But for him, I think that even though he's been able to reach a wider audience, his sound is still a little niche. You know, it's still a little niche because there's certain people who like certain genres of music that will gravitate towards DSL's
I think
music.
the album was purely a reggae
It was,
album.
yeah, it was. I think, is it back to the roots?
Yeah,
Back
Roots
to
or
the
something?
reggae dancehall.
It was reggae
Yeah.
dancehall. So for people who are into reggae dancehall, it was after that he dropped No Gree.
Yeah.
You know, and No Gree appeals to a much wider audience than the reggae dancehall. You know, so for him it also might be a little challenging because of that.
Okay,
But
so
outside of that,
we know
I think-
Paluta has been around for a minute
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He still made it qualified as a breakthrough act of the year in this
Yeah.
case. His latest song, Makuma, definitely doesn't cut it in this group, but I know there might be a bit of some what do you call it?
Recency bias.
Yes, in there. But what do you make of him as well in this group? Is he looking likely as one of the tipped to pick the award for breakthrough act?
So,
Go.
so you haven't mentioned the others yet, but
Yeah.
I think that I'm tipping King Paluta, Olive the Boy, and I left Osei Sikeni out the last time, but I think that we
need to
really
count him.
underestimate
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
He's doing. I looked at his numbers on Spotify the other day, and I was shocked
Yeah.
because
Very
his
impressive,
listenership is amazing. And
So Paluta stands out to one of the artists
Yeah,
in this
I think
group to be
Paluta ticks all the boxes.
okay.
In terms of visibility, he's been there, he's been on tour.
Yeah.
My only issue is, which I had earlier on in the year, was the fact that he hasn't been quite vocal on most of the local platforms.
Platforms, yeah.
He hasn't really had like an engaging media run. He hasn't really engaged the industry stakeholders that much. But as compared to
He jumped to government level.
he jumped to government level. He went straight to the top,
Yes.
and then he went outside the country
Yeah.
as well, which is quite commendable. But I would have liked for him to, have done his homework before going out there, because with the Ghanaian audience, things are a bit transient. Like
Yeah.
you just, and we're having this conversation
Yes.
before we came on there, so. I would have loved for him to, have built that connection and gotten familiar with most of the people. But
Yeah.
that notwithstanding, he has a very interesting brand. Again, most people get surprised when they find out the person behind the music.
Yeah.
And he also has quite an interesting history with the Ghanaian music industry, with the Ghanaian music fans as well. So I think for him, it ticks all the boxes.
Where do you put Christian Ameruga then? If we are highlighting these boxes that should push an artist as one of the notable artists within the category that could likely win. Where do you place Christian Ameruga? Because he's also sort of wound his way around this maze. But if he's doing hip hop music, does it limit him in any way, or does he still have a chance, a big chance of carrying the trophy at the end of the day? Well, the hip hop artist can say.
I think that for him, his case is very peculiar. He comes off as very interesting, like the kind of things that he says, and I think at the nominees party we saw that he performed, and I saw
The
ladies in the audience like responding, like it was a call and response. They knew the music, they were familiar with his sound, they were familiar with his music because the things he says are interesting. I think Ghanaians are very interesting audience, and their choice of sound or what they gravitate to is dynamic. It could be this today, it could be that tomorrow, but he definitely does tick the box when it comes to excitement, so yeah.
Would 40% of public votes be enough for him to just add on a few from the board and academy to carry the day? Considering so far we've mentioned the Banzi Banero, DSL, Paluta, and I hit on him again because it's a season now, clearly enjoying, something from Makoma that he's released.
I think looking at the other nominees, it might be a bit difficult for him to get like the public votes. Because then again, I was at the nominees announcement, and I saw how the crowd reacted to his performance. And most of these reactions were along the lines of, "Oh, that's his music. Oh, this is the guy who you see." And when it comes to voting psychology, most people like to lean towards people that they know, not just about the music, but they want to know the person and see the person. So I think he also has like a little work to do when it comes to that as well.
Well, then talking about work to do then, I'd love to hear your opinion on Maya Blue, because she's also been on almost every platform, on almost every stage. And still, I don't know if there's a sting of trying to identify her easily. She carries the artistic, expression anywhere she sets foot in. But we're still looking for the Maya Blue to represent a very strong female, music space. What do you think of her in this very heated category? She is the only female here.
I think that goes to say how very difficult it is for for a female artist.
Unfair or difficult?
I think it's a bit unfair. It's a bit unfair because for Maya Blue, the main issue has been with her music connecting with people. Because if it has to do with the platforms, visibility and all
promotion,
that, I mean, her label takes the cake when it comes to that. But it has to do with the music. The music isn't really connecting, and I think you see with all these things, this is like a 360 thing. Everything has to check out, and so even if the visibility is going to be A1, people will still need to have something to connect to, which is the music. And
so let me ask a difficult question here. We can move on real quickly. If Lali and Lola had been in this category, had qualified, I mean they don't qualify because they moved beyond this now. If he had qualified to be in this category with Maya Blue and Lali and Lola, where would we be leaning more towards? Who would have the competitive advantage?
I think I'll be leaning more towards Maya Blue. Yeah, I'll be leaning more towards Maya Blue because I feel like she's a more matured artist. Yeah, she's a more matured artist, and looking at the kind of work that she has put in, But Lali and Lola are also very hardworking. Like, you get to see their red hair everywhere you go.
Very making them very identifiable. Yes. Okay, so let me go to Mufti. Now, I mean, he's a clear case of I jumped on a big song and boom, I had it. But did he have any prior history before this?
No, I don't think so.
I only heard of him on the Mr. Drew song, but I think he got on the song and then he showed us what he could do. He actually delivered on the song. So, but the truth is, the fact of the matter is, he's an amazing artist. Like based on what we have seen, based on what I have seen, but in the category, there's definitely others who have more advantage than he does.
Has he put out any singles, EP, album?
Yeah, he put out a single.
How well is that doing?
I don't compared to the success of what he did with Mr. Drew. I think the remix outweighed what he has been able to personally put out. And I think we've seen this over and over again. It's very difficult to follow up a viral moment if you are not able to, navigate.
Then clearly Paluta must have had some, real good chain of,
Paluta is a student of the game. He's been behind the scenes for like over a decade.
Over a decade.
He has learned a lot.
Okay, so if in that case, comparing an artist who's been a student of the game for over a decade, and now there's All of the Boy, who just, presented himself in his past, his Havana EP has just shot him to places that, a lot of artists are struggling to get to. What do you make of him? How competitive is this category for him? Who should he also be looking out for in this category if he wants to win?
So if we're just going to look at things from the surface level, All of the Boy is definitely like leading the charge in this category. Even though Paluta is a student of the game, All of the Boy, he has been consistent. I mean, Paluta has been consistent in the past few years, but All of the Boy has been consistent with his sound. His label have been doing an amazing job, and I think that he has also managed to appeal to different audiences, not just within this region. Firstly, because of the way he sounds Nigerian. He's able to capture a Nigerian audience.
Well, if Nigeria has to vote, he'll come with some international charges, though. By the way, I just had to say that.
Definitely, he's been able to appeal to them, and he's been able to. It took a while. There was also a gap for him when it came to like the popularity of the song and people being able to put their face to like who made the song, like with Good Sin. But since then, he's been able to follow up with the shows, media rounds, all of that. So definitely. He's in a leading position when it comes to this category.
Okay, leading position, but is there any threat with regards to amassing votes from Osei Sikeni as well. I mean, who has the Ashanti region heavily behind him. You know, he's a darling boy of the region. So, and when you have, you know, the board, the academy, and the public all voting, what do you make of this? How competitive would it be for him? Also, considering the names you've mentioned, like Paluta and All the Boy, who are possibly in the lead in terms of the people's favorite.
I think Osei is the underdog here. Yeah, he needs to be one to look out for because I think for him, he also has like this very interesting brand. He personally, he is a very interesting character, and Ghanaians tend to lean more towards, you know,
very
interesting characters.
Yeah.
So I think for him, he has a very, very big chance. But I mean, if we are going to take out just the public sentiment voting, then maybe Kim Paluta and All of the Boy might stand a bigger chance than he does. But I think he can excel in the.
Let's put Slim Kid and 7.
Before we go to Slim Kid, I just
sure.
want to say, if anyone will pull a surprise, it will be Osei.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that. Who will be the surprise winner?
He will be the surprise.
Like I'm saying, I mean, all he has to do is just win the interest of the hearts of the board. No, the academy and the public votes. I know the Ashanti region is head behind him, and then boom, he can still steal this easily off the plate of Paluta and All of the Boy. Let's put Slim Kid and 7 Kids together.
Yeah.
I think I'll go for Slim Kid because Slim Kid has had much more motion. Yeah. Even look at, if we are going to take the recency bias into consideration, I mean, songs of Sako there, and then having that little beef stint with YGA. I think that puts him in a better position to, you know, have an edge over 7 Kids. Okay, all right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll run through the digital act of the year and also throw our focus on the song of the year. We'll be right back. Well, the category definition for Song of the Year is one thing, but if you drill down to the list itself, it's another thing. Before I read the category definition to you, here are the nominees for the Song of the Year.
3Music Awards Song of the Year. Asita by Nasi. Case Remix by Mr. Drew and Mufti. Kilson by All of the Boy. Into the Future by Stoneboy. Kweku Anansi by Amarado. Liquor by Kiddy. Monica by Kwame Eugene. Mo by PACA Esther. Time by Sarkodie. Rent Free by Jackie. Terminator by King Promise. Victory by Joyce Blessing.
Well, I know the smiles on your faces already and biting your nails, your fingernails, and yes, clenched fists and like, oh my days. I thought I was going to give it to the first person, but wait, there was a second one and a third one. But before that though, the most outstanding and dominant song of the year on the basis of massive public appeal. I wish I couldn't read the rest, but let me just tell you this. Lyrical power, superior songwriting, and outstanding production. And the songs in there, if you ask me, all of them have outstanding productions. Now, it's voted for by the Board, Academy, and the public. Gentlemen, I don't know where you want to start with this one, but I'm seeing an Afrobeat versus gospel. Let me start off overall. Where do you think we should lean towards first? Is the gospel looking very competitive, or the Afrobeat is kicking in like, hold on?
I won't lie to you. Anyone can win this category. I won't lie. It's just so difficult to choose like one particular song which has like the edge over any of the other songs. I think 2023 was one of the best years for Ghanaian music. Comparing it to 2016, 2017, where Kiddy, Kwame Eugene, King Promise, all of those guys came on. So I think last year we saw some of the best music come out. We saw some of the best artists. We saw some of the legacy artists also reinventing themselves, as Kojo was saying off the camera. Someone like Nasi, someone like Stonebwoy is on his fifth album, someone like King Promise on his third album, so Kwame Eugene on an EP.
So are we saying that the Afrobeat space looks like? So let me even categorize this particular category for you again. So there's gospel, there's rap or hip hop, and then there's Afrobeats. There's Sarkodie in there with his Otine. There's who else was Kwikwanansi? I don't know what to put him in there.
Amarado.
Amarado's in there. Then you have it's more hip life. Then you have the the gospel in there. Then you have Afrobeats like
Terminator, Case, Into the Future, Leko, Monica.
Yeah, I think we're anyone can win, like Ato said, but we need to. I mean, the Afrobeats and there's a lot of them in there as well. They carry the majority nominations. In there, so definitely.
Well, if you pick, anybody can win. But if you pick Nasi's Asida, what do you say about this song? Because it was another song that was really powerful within the Ghanaian space, and then it cut across from young to old to middle class to rich to average.
With the trend, the challenges that he did.
It was just all over the place. It was there. I mean, clearly you can't say that. Would you want to compare that to maybe Case Remix and its impact? You might lean towards Nasi a little bit.
I think Nasi single-handedly could go against the gospel and the Afrobeats category because, as I was saying, his song cuts across just the traditional gospel, and Nasi's music was fresh. It was fresh. It was different. No one expected him to bring out such a song. So
and I think that it was also him also applying strategy, finding different ways of marketing the music. Also gave him what's it called, sense of some sort of longevity with regards to the song and also popularity, because then people were jumping. I saw people from.
So stay on that point with me. Popularity. Let's go to let's talk about Olive Good Sin and its popularity majority in Nigeria. I don't know if that is a case in itself, because you check the charts. I mean, he was topping it there. The numbers are coming huge from Nigeria, all because of his accent, his looks, and all. Is that also in any way? Can it in any way affect votes? It might be a very popular song on the charts here. I mean, on the list here, but looking at maybe Nasi and the intentionality within the Ghanaian space, I don't know if there's any comparative analysis we can do there.
Yeah, I think we raised that point earlier. since this is a more Ghanaian award scheme,
Yes.
most of the people are going to lean towards, because
What do you
you
have
might
there?
take a song like, let's take a song like Terminator, which was quite big in Asia, in Indonesia, and a song like Monica, which was quite big locally. If you put those two songs toe to toe with each other,
Yeah.
most of the local people might gravitate
towards that,
towards Monica. So I think that intentionality also plays a very critical role when it
Because I
comes
was just about to say, we went to church to listen to Nasi, but afterwards we also jammed to Monica in the
yeah,
evening in the clubs.
yeah.
Another song in there. And I mean, Terminator from King Promise is also another one to look out for. Would that be a threat in any way? Or maybe sometimes, because the song was released quite a few months back, by the time it reaches award season, the fire in it may have just gone down a little bit. So the voting may not reflect, in the same. Is that a possibility in any way for Terminator? Because we experienced this with King Promise back in 9 awards in the other music award scheme. Also, was it 9? Quite a number of nominations, but at the end of the day, it didn't happen for him. And recently, with the TGMAs, for example, as well. I mean, it was a Stone Boy King Promise affair. But when the fandom really comes, the voting power comes in, that becomes a question, for the gods. But so I'm asking about your opinion on this as well.
I think we can promise. I'm still trying to wrap my head around where the problem is, because King Promise can have like an amazing year. He can do all the things he has to do, but it's still it becomes a problem when the core Ghanaian audience needs to resonate, make a decision with respect to him. So for King Promise, I actually don't know.
So who amongst this list? I mean, Nasi, Mr. Drew, Olive, Stoneboy, Amrado, Kwame Eugene, PSC, Esther, Sarkodie, Jackie, and Sark's another one in there. Sark Nation is solidly behind him. All he has to do is just put it out there, vote for me, and they're all for him. Which amongst these artists has got a powerful fandom to be able to amass votes and react to what they say that go and vote for me?
If it's fandom, it's Sack Nation.
But also,
Saturday
don't play with the church.
The
Yeah,
don't
of
play
course,
with the church.
church.
intentionality
But you
can
see,
sometimes
but
be-
if
Yes.
the church actually bands together to vote for one gospel artist, because there's 3 of them in there, so who are they
Yeah.
going to band together to vote for?
No,
I mean, we've
it's
seen that
like-
happen in the past. They've done
Yeah.
that with Joe Metal.
Because he was the only gospel artist.
But they can do that. I mean,
No, they can decide to pick one champion. I think
Okay.
for them, they don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that. They
Okay,
did the same
that's
thing with
fine.
Dinah Hamilton
Then-
as well.
then yeah,
so
then I mean, then Nasi.
I
Then
think
Nasi.
if they all come together to say we are voting for Nasi, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Ato, Trip, thank you very much. It's been an insightful conversation here on the show as well. Well, remember the vote lies in your device. Just jump on there and vote *447*3#. Hurry up, and the voting season is open all the way till the end of September. Don't forget, it's 28th of September, and that's when we wrap it up as well. Well, it's been good having you watch the diaries. Don't forget, again, if you want to air your comments and your opinions, make it happen through your device. It's Jay, and we out.